You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Orange is the New Black After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Orange is the New Black After Show.
The animal, it's trap, 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 till the cage is full. The cage is full, the day is new. Everyone's waiting on you, and you got time.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, After Buzzers, and welcome to another exciting after show of Netflix's original series, Orange is the New Black, starring Taylor Schilling, episode 8, entitled Appropriately Sized Pots. I could think of a couple of other episode titles it could have been, but it would have given stuff away, so I understand why they didn't do it. I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey. Joining me today is...
Hey guys, it's Emma Kay.
What up? It's me, Megan Thomas.
Hey everyone, it's Scott Moore.
Scotty's in the hills, Megan's in the house, Emma's in the house. So, we're going to talk about a couple things. The couple things are being, Piper got her furlough, okay? Now she's a target of disdain amongst all the inmates.
Yep.
Caputo suspects Red of him being deceived, but, he's trying to place his finger on it. And there was the other big thing for...
Backstory, Rosa.
Rosa, that's right. Rosa's backstory. And you know what? I actually am enjoying or have enjoyed her backstory. It was really exciting. And I think the writers actually went to a place where it was like really exciting based on her character as we know it being the most uneventful character we know, that she's actually probably had lived the greatest, grandest life out of everybody and had the most excitement and the most suspense and everything.
Yeah, she's had the coolest crime.
Yes, and she was kind of hot when she was younger.
I was like, she was hot. She's there, going off and they're doing her.
She was a shock collar compared to some of the females in here thinking now they're the shock collars. So, I feel bad. If she wasn't sick, I think she would definitely be running the place.
Oh, right, absolutely.
She would be putting up with everybody's crap for sure.
Yes, so... he tells her, we're going back to this healthcare thing we've been talking about. It's been an ongoing situation. And I think the reason why the writers have concentrated on this subject matter, for one, is simply because healthcare is one of the simplest things that is being treated like a human being and getting the actual rights just to exist. Right. Healthcare is equates to quality of life, obviously, right?
And dignity.
And dignity, it's just a very humanizing thing. It has nothing to do with the fact that this person committed a crime. They committed a crime, but they're still human beings, and they need to be treated as such. Healy, it opens with Healy telling Rosa,
you need surgery.
She needs. Well, I guess she was basically saying she needs surgery. He was telling her that we're not going to pay. It's not going to happen because there's no funding for the surgery that she needs. Obviously, is very expensive, and they're not going to cover it. And who knows what might happen? You have years to no one knows the future. And it's like, dude, really?
Yeah, we'll keep you on chemo. It was something his uncle had chemo.
He tells her some story that's so, I don't even know, it's patronizing to a certain degree. It's like adding insult to injury to tell her this. He's like, the doctors know the future. They tell me I need the surgery.
And it's so sad in our society where you have to, basically, if you commit a crime, and I get, you don't follow the law, you have to go to jail. I get that. But does that mean that you also have to lose your life? Because that's essentially what's going to happen, because she is in jail. They're not going to let her go, and they're not going to pay for her health care. And I don't believe they give you the option to have your own health insurance when you're in prison.
But you can't even afford it even if
you could get on,
or if your family
she could probably get on Medicare for old people.
Age.
But she can't even get that because she's a prisoner. So it's kind of. I mean, I feel like
if
she
you're in
probably
prison,
should.
if you're in prison and your family is like well off and can afford the healthcare for you, would they still allow you to get?
Well, that's
I
what I'm
don't think
thinking. I don't think
so.
so.
I don't
mean,
think
that's
so.
that's the thing that is difficult because then you have people on the flip side that are out that don't make a lot of money and then they don't have health coverage and they're like, well, why should prisoners be able to? So you have that very sticky point there and like, why does the prisoner get the expensive treatment?
I have to argue and say that they probably would be able to get treatment.
If the family could afford it?
Money speaks everywhere. So yeah, if the family can afford it, then the facility or the prison would be more than happy to let them incur the cost.
Right.
It wouldn't be.
I wonder though. I do wonder. Would they allow that? Would they? That's a good question.
If you guys know this, you guys can call in right now, 424-256-1633, 424-256-1633, and let us know if you guys have any information regarding what the healthcare issues or standards are, policies or whatever regarding this, because this is a very hot topic.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's made itself more prevalent as the season has as the series has gone on. It's become more and more of an issue as we see with Jimmy, with Rosa, with Sophia. I mean, it's with everybody.
Right.
What I would like to know more is, with Obamacare and our healthcare changing, how that's going to affect the inmates. So again, if anyone knows the answer to that, and everyone needs to have healthcare,
right, and have pre-existing conditions covered and things
what
like that.
what does that translate for them?
Right. And I know for the last episode we were talking about how Jimmy, they didn't have the funds to take her to a mental hospital, but instead just dropped her off. So it is important to note, to talk about what happens with prisoners and the healthcare system.
Right.
It's really sad.
Also, what's really good is like really good, not good, but was really good to as far as educationally is concerned, that we're learning how the system works watching the show, and the show's showing us, okay, like they let Jimmy off, or they released her, called compassionate release. Release. Is that really compassionate? Like,
it's nice buzz
it's
speak,
right.
Yeah,
it's like what kind of weak spin is that on what you're doing? How can you like take an old lady who obviously needs care and just drop her off
dump
somewhere
her.
and just drop her off? And that actually makes you think about a lot of the homeless people that you see. And when you go in your area, wherever you live, and there might be an area, I know in Los Angeles is Skid Row, and there's a lot of people who have need care. They need medical care, they need mental care, or whatever it is, and maybe they were in some facility and they just got dropped off somewhere and it was there.
Right. And I just feel like if they gave Jimmy compassionate release, they should do the same for Rosa. Because they can't, because they're refusing to pay for her surgery that she needs.
Yeah,
they should give her
you
compassionate
give
release.
a good point, because they should let her be released.
Right, and then they should that way she can go and get Medicare and then get her surgery paid for.
Or be somewhere like a hospice or somewhere where she's still somewhere and being taken care of in her last days in a compassionate way.
Because she's really not being taken care of.
No, absolutely
not. They take her to chemo.
Right.
But
she's still a threat to society.
Yeah, because she's really going to be robbing banks now.
She is. She's going to be. She is. She robbed a nurse's purse.
She's robbing people now, not banks. She's starting off small.
Well, yeah,
maybe she's building her budget.
I know. I was going to say, I think it was just a way for her to kind of like get off in a way to see like, oh, she could still kind of have that moment.
Yeah.
Nothing else to do. Why not?
Right. Exactly. That's all she's
thrill.
got. Exactly.
But we see she gets off on that. Like that's the total thrill.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's able to even like orchestrate this with this shit pot, as she calls it.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
It was like totally cool. Like she had the total joint cased out.
She did, and again shows how intelligent she is too on those type of things. Like you have to have it down, knowing what people's schedules are and routines. And
I think that was perfect because Healy says, kind of like indirectly says, you need to have something to fight for. So you need to have a positive outlook on life, so that way you never know what's going to happen. But if you're so negative, it reflects on your health. So I feel like them putting this in writing, and how she's so thrilled about getting this money, she now has something to live for.
And I think that's a good thing that you bring that up, because I think the whole positivity outlook for her was kind of like, well, what is the point? What do I have to live for? It's not like I'm going to go out here and go with the man, which I remember a couple episodes she was talking to Morello about. She's like, you can get out of here and,
you have a life ahead of you.
Yeah, you have a life ahead of you. Get married, have kids, that kind of thing. For her, she has the curse against her with all her men dying. And so now that she sees that the little boy doesn't die, I mean the little boy, the teenager doesn't die. I think now she's like, okay, I still got it in me. The smell of money. Ooh, I never thought I would smell it again. It's amazing.
Money does have a smell too.
It does, especially when it's new, when the new money, and it's crisp.
That ink
I bet
money.
she'll be making more money than
It's
V.
crisp. It's some good
V's
stuff.
operation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rosa was smoking when she was young.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
She was hot. She had all the guys, and she just went down the list too.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like she just went around with the whole group. It's like she didn't go out of her group.
I don't blame her. I
every one
blame
of
the
those guys.
guys. Like, it's not like she was hiding her behavior. They all knew how she was.
No, but that's what
like,
was so funny. It was like she just went down the line to each guy and just like, I'm not going outside of my little pool here.
I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? You can't find any other chicks.
Yeah,
You
what
just
about
do
her?
it.
She
Well,
didn't
they
want to
all
go with
work
anyone
together.
else. She's
Yeah.
hot. Like, why?
Well, you got to keep it the secret in the family. You know,
Right.
you can't trust no one else coming.
right.
in.
She got inherited to the next in line.
She did. That was what's so funny about
I'm
that.
thinking like when Marco died, and the guys in the front, they're like, one of them, they're like, yes,
Yes. Who's next?
I'm next.
Yeah. Is there like an heir apparent?
Right.
Going down the line.
And the last guy, he didn't, partake in the ritual.
Yeah.
Kiss.
Like,
It was
the
like
after
a kiss
kiss.
of death, the after kiss, because
Right,
she's
right.
like so high, she's gonna go and rob a bank by herself.
Yeah.
Like, are
Right.
you serious? You're really gonna go do that? Like, you're really addicted to this.
Yeah, and I think that it is part of the thing. Is
It's an adrenaline rush.
like she said, and the thrill, and then after a while, she's like, "Let's go do it again." It's
Right.
probably more of an adrenaline high than having sex with the guy. It was like, "This is awesome. This is passion. I'm getting the money," and so yeah,
Right.
and that's when you start, I think,
I hope
making
she
the
has
mistakes
that money
too.
stored somewhere in a safe place. Done something with it, not just spend it.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're like, where is
then-
it?
and
What
then-
happened to it?
Yeah, and like the
Did they
little
find
boy,
it?
the teenager says, he's like, this is not enough. And she's like, it's never enough. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's part of her lesson. It wasn't enough that she had just scored $50,000
Yeah,
in the
she could get
80s.
more.
I'm assuming that's when it was. But
I think it was even earlier. Some
I
of the
think
stuff looked
so,
like it was like
too.
70s.
I
Yeah.
thought
'Cause her
70s, and then I
character-
thought
The-
early 80s.
Her
seemed like
character was
70s,
too
70s.
young,
Yeah.
compared to what she is
Yeah.
now.
When I was just thinking the way they were looked and the cars and everything.
Oh,
like you
the
said, it could've-
clothes, it was like definitely 70s.
Yeah, like
Maybe
late
late
70s.
70s.
Okay, that's what I thought at first. But then I was thinking, I was doing the time.
Well, it could have been late 70s and early
But I'm saying,
80s.
like, do they put you, because that would have been like, what, 30 plus years? Do they
Yeah.
put you in prison for robbing banks for 35
Yeah.
years?
Yeah, well, especially the amount that she did.
Yeah.
I'm sure, because it wasn't just like
She
one
went through
bank.
3
She
different guys while
yeah,
she was
cycling through
True,
a
but
lot of
I
banks.
guess, okay, so I guess they, like, pegged her for all the other crimes. I'm assuming she just got put in prison for the last crime.
No.
the last
I think
bank
end of the
robbery.
day.
It was a chain.
Yeah.
Okay.
She
And
got
if
the.
they were identified because they didn't wear masks, they didn't do any of that. So if they were
Okay.
identified by any of the other banks, then it would have been simple to.
And
Or
she's the
knowing-
only girl with
Yeah,
the
knowing that
long
there were a lot
flowing
of banks.
hair and all that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's her.
The hot girl.
Right,
Yeah.
the hot girl with the gun. I remember her. I'll never forget her face. Oh, yes. Okay, so Caputo is actually like gone into Red's space in the greenhouse, and it's
Right.
kind of like,
You know,
I
something's
think
up.
of.
I was
Contraband.
nervous.
Well, he
coming in.
didn't really know at first.
No, but I think he knows that, like, things are coming in.
Right.
And
Yeah, he's like-
there's a reason and somebody's up to it. And
Right.
knows Red, so.
Yeah, especially when he gives the talk to Bennett about, you got to be careful who you're friends with in here,
Mm-hmm.
and then it clicks for him. It's Red. Red is screwing me over.
Right.
And so, I don't know, when he first went in there, I really thought, like, he's going to find the tunnel.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Well, he didn't really find out. Well, yeah, when he actually goes later and
Yeah.
talks to Bennett, that's when it's like he was talking to himself.
Right,
Yeah,
then
and
he
then, like, the
realized, like,
light
hold on,
bulb
wait.
goes off, and he's
Right.
like, ah.
And Bennett is drinking his kale and almond milk and whatever shake it is, but he
That was gross too when he said he chewed tobacco.
Chewed
I was like,
tobacco.
oh, that just brought him down a couple pegs
Right.
to me. I'm like, oh, gross. And he was like, oh, it bounces
bounces
out.
out.
And I'm like, oh.
Does it? Like,
no.
I don't think so.
Kel does
It's
cleanse you
ridiculous.
out. So
No,
He does, but
you're
there's
not-
no
it
bouncing
has-
out if you're chewing tobacco.
I
That was like,
know,
oh,
like, there's no-
gross.
But,
He's
you
gonna
know-
get like throat cancer or something.
I know.
One more
It just-
thing
it brought him down.
about Kel,
me.
Maria has great tips on diet and fitness in the Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness.
Yes.
She talks about your diet and what you could do to change your body. It's not overnight. It takes some work, ladies and gentlemen. So it also comes with fitness tips that you can try at home at the comfort of your house and get your body summer ready. So
Right.
and Kel is one of them. So
And
talking about
chewing
Kel.
tobacco definitely isn't.
No.
Not on
No,
the, not on the
not.
list. Uh-uh.
Let us know what you think about this episode of Orange is the New Black. Make sure you go to iTunes, and it's really easy to subscribe to our podcast. Just search for Orange is the New Black on an AfterBuzz TV, and then click subscribe. You will get our podcast for free.
Right.
Free 99 every week.
Yeah, free 99, and then
week.
give us 5 stars.
5 stars and leave some comments. We like to read what you guys are thinking
do.
about this season.
Absolutely, and especially if we have questions too, help us out.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we always do. So.
Which we do, yes.
Okay, so Caputo was like overhearing like this lovers quarrel between Luzchek and Fisher, like in the hallway. He's like just lurking like on the stairs.
Yeah,
It's
creepy.
such a typical
Right.
like
It is creepy.
conversation though.
It is.
totally
You
typical.
didn't return my
Lovers quarrel.
text.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Call me. Don't
Right.
text me,
Don't call me
blah, blah,
babe. No,
Yeah,
no, babe.
nobody's
Don't call
calling
me
her
babe. It's like I would maybe let you call me that if you return my text. And
I love
They're
that.
such an annoying couple.
They are.
they're funny.
Yeah, but it's,
But I do. I
He
like
brings the
them
coffee for
together,
her.
though.
She drinks it. Oh, that's the one with schnapps. Give me
Schnapps
that
in
back. Total drunk. You know, he's like the actual cool guard.
yeah.
He's the actual cool guard
Right.
that doesn't take anything too seriously, but it's also like, look, we all have to be here. Let's just make it
the best
easy.
of it.
Let's make the
Yeah.
best
With
of
schnapps
it.
and my
kind of
hot
thing.
chocolate. Get through
Right,
it.
exactly. And then here comes Figueroa storming down the hallway, stepping in gum, and just
Yeah.
right. Her Louboutins, like
Gum.
you're wearing Louboutins
Under.
to work, and you work at an assistant warden in prison. Like,
Why can't you
There's
have?
nothing wrong with that.
But no, but again, it's
Where
showing
are you
that
getting the
she's.
money
That's
for
right. That's where it's
Louboutins,
showing her
though?
spending the
Right.
money.
Right.
exactly.
And you're thinking, okay.
Because
She ain't making it on that
Wardens
salary.
should
No.
be making so much money that they can have Louboutins like that or Mercedes. I don't think that's okay.
But
She
one
needs to
thing you
keep up her image.
But
Exactly.
but
Husband.
here's the thing, which is really funny. She does mention a bunch of things that because they're in this environment every day, that is going like right over their heads that they don't really notice, like the makeup, the earrings, the gum on the floor. Like they're obviously not supposed to be chewing gum. There's no jewelry to be worn. There's no makeup to be worn. They only have mascara at the commissary, and that's it. So where is all this
Why
other
do you
stuff
need
coming? Stuff.
mascara if you can't
That's
have
what I'm saying.
anything
If you're, I know that's what's so
Like-
bizarre to me too. Like, why
I
is that
think-
approved?
Because
Well-
that is on a wand
Yeah.
and that's on a stick.
Right.
Whereas
Well, that's
you use
all that's
eyeshadow, it's
approved.
a little
Yeah.
sponge.
From what I understand, and then actually some of the eyeshadow I think they make from
Well,
Yeah, they
some
use
of the
coffee
coffee
grounds.
yeah,
grounds.
coffee grounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah.
actually what's but just actually from what's actually available at the commissary, I think the mascara is part of the female emotional state. I think it has something to do with like
So
an
how is
emotional.
mascara okay,
What do
but
you
why
mean?
is
I
gum
think-
not okay?
I think like the psychological state of a woman to be able to put on something on her face.
Okay, but
that's
what
why
I'm
they
saying,
allow the mascara,
What
but
I'm
they
saying
don't
is
let too much other makeup.
there's other types of makeup that would come before mascara. Like
Right.
that's not even the first thing that would come.
Well,
to
that's what
mind.
they allow. I don't know
I'm
why.
saying,
I think it has something to do with
lipstick,
that.
gloss,
exactly. Like things
something.
like that. You agree?
Well,
why
if you
mascara
guys-
of all things?
Is that lip gloss you're wearing, Chapman? It's like, these are my lips.
Well, they have a beauty salon, and
Right.
it just doesn't make sense why they can't have anything else.
Right,
Like,
that's
if
what
they're
I'm saying.
going
If
to
you
harm
have-
themselves
Right.
with it.
You're not going to harm yourself with green eyeshadow. You would do more
never
harm
know.
with mascara, I think, than you would
I
with
agree.
eyeshadow.
Yeah, you could poke.
Right.
You could use it as a
somebody.
weapon. Sharpen
Probably
it.
break, but
Right.
Right.
But
right.
more than like something else.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
so Caputo, Figueroa goes off on them, and
She's
Luzchek, what is this, a M. Night
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan. And then Luzchek, of course, has to be a smart ass and say, and correct her.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I think I have to get back to work. He broke out at the right time, too. I'm like, dude, you're about to get in trouble.
I know. I thought she was gonna fire him.
I
Right then
did, too.
Because the way he
Right.
talked, and I loved when Fisher calls her ma'am, and she's like, "I'm not some old lady that you're bagging groceries for."
Right.
Which is really funny because she used to bag groceries.
Yeah.
Remember?
Right,
She used to
right.
bag groceries at the store.
Yeah.
So that's really funny that
Yeah,
she
I
even
thought
said
that's
that. I'm like, did they
hilarious.
say that on purpose?
I think that's why I figured they did it
Yeah.
on purpose. But yeah,
because she acted like she didn't know who she was.
No,
like,
I don't think she did it on purpose. I seriously
Oh, it
think
was just
that
a-
Fig just said
No,
that.
but I mean the
as like
writers did that on
yeah.
purpose.
Right.
Well, yeah, the writers
Yeah.
did, but Fig, of course, doesn't know
doesn't
Fisher
know
like
and
that.
doesn't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously, because Caputo was like sniffing around, or he's trying to make himself, he's not sniffing around really, he's trying to make himself comfortable because he believes in this whole gardening thing and how, that's the whole reason he granted the greenhouse to Red and
He
the
also
old
has the
ladies
plant
as
in
well.
his
Yeah, because
office.
Right, he has a plan in his
passionate
office.
about it.
He's
Yeah.
passionate about it. Extend your life by 3 years and
Yeah.
all this stuff, right? So now he's gonna have to make himself comfortable in the greenhouse. And Red is like, oh no, this is too close for comfort. So she has to like cozy up with Gloria because he's making a move to like rent a space in the greenhouse
and go in there every day.
right.
Before she gets
I'll
in
be here in the
there.
mornings and blah blah blah. It's like he's ruining her whole operation now, right? Like, so she can't risk that, and now she has to cozy up to Gloria and get Gloria to harbor some stuff for her in the refrigerator. But Gloria's like, they keep trying to suck Gloria in.
Yeah.
Between V and Red, they keep trying to like draw her into their drama. I think that every time, it's so funny, they always show like Red noticing V, Gloria talking to V, and then they always show V noticing Gloria talking to Red, and the whole time Gloria's like, both of you guys leave me alone kind of thing. I don't want to get caught up in this nonsense.
Scorpions. I don't want to stung by either of them.
She calls them bullies, which is true. They're both
they are
both bullies.
Right.
In their own right.
And it's so interesting how the kitchen, and we're going back to this, of course, we've established this in the first season, but just to see that now that Gloria and the Latinas are in charge of the kitchen, how the kitchen is like the main crux of power. It's like the kingdom of the prison.
Yeah.
And like whoever is in charge of the prison or in charge of the kitchen is kind of running things.
Well, and they do in a lot of ways when you think about it. When it's food and it's something, you do get a lot of power from that.
Right. But of course, one thing that, some leverage that Red has is that she has a pipeline to be able to bring things in. And all she wants is some cilantro and some pepper so she can use it to spice up the food and make it better, which I don't know if she was sure that with everybody in the prison, probably just her and her girls, would get to enjoy that stuff. Yeah. But her and Red have come to some kind of common denominator of agreeance, I should say. So...
But I will say this about them. I do think V's going to end up winning out for the kitchen because the simple fact that Red used to be in charge of the kitchen and Gloria doesn't want that taken away from her, especially when you see that scene where Red takes her finger. Right. I was like, girl, could you be any more convenient? Wiping your finger on that counter and then giving her a look like, sturdy.
She's like, look, 3 días. Like, I'll give you 3 days to get your, she's like, I just need this stuff to cool down. Me and you, we're the good, right? And she does her, she says, you, me, we're the good. And she's like, yeah, okay, we're good. And then she actually walks out and then wipes the finger while she's walking out.
Had to, like,
it's like, like, really? I'm doing you a favor and you're going to, like, really? And then she kind of walks out.
That's innate for her,
So funny.
She has her... her restaurant or her store or whatever it is, so she's used to doing that. She's used to keeping a place clean.
But that's why I would be more afraid if I was Gloria. I would be more afraid of Red than I would. I would watch Red more because I know Red wants what I have.
And she used to have it, and she. Yeah.
But there's only one of her, and how many kind of like soldiers does V have in her army? Which one of them tripped Dia? So it's kind of like.
But that thing is that's more blatant to me. That's more overt, and you can see like, okay, well it's not that they necessarily want what I have, even though everyone wants to work in the kitchen because that's the power.
Right.
But for sure Red wants that back. She's already had a taste of what it's like to run the kitchen and run it for years.
Right, of course.
So obviously this chick would like that spot back. She would like that power back. And because she's experienced that, I would probably watch her more just because I'm like, okay, if I slip up as Gloria, Red is coming for this position ASAP, and she will get it because she knows how to run this kitchen.
And I think she underestimates V still too.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So
who are you talking about, Red or Gloria?
Gloria.
Okay.
I think Gloria underestimates V.
Right.
I mean, she thinks
she got the upper hand.
Yeah.
And I think Sophia is trying to give her signs, kind of like.
You said Sophia?
Sophia, unspoken words like, making her change her hair, but she's constantly thinking that Sophia refers to Red.
Right.
With the hair color, and she's like, no, I don't want to do fuchsia. She's like, it's not fuchsia, it's, violet. So
yeah,
I think Sophia is the one that sees the overall picture of what's really going on between everyone. And she's like, you need to take, kind of like your position and change your look to fit into your role. But she meant it towards V. I don't know what you guys thought of that, but not Red. And I think Gloria is still, her mind is still on Red.
Right.
But Red's not the threat.
Right. Exactly. It's V. And again, that's what I was saying. Like, she underestimates V.
I don't think that she underestimates V. I think after the situation in the bathroom, and then Red came to her in the kitchen and said what she said, and the girls were like, Flocka and Maritza were like, no, she told that bitch, blah, blah, blah. She reflected on what really happened, and she knew that Red knows her, and she said, she played you.
Yeah.
She played you.
That's
and
right. She
had that look on her face like, damn.
But that's what I'm saying. Before
Right.
she did. She
Yeah.
was more concerned with Red.
Yeah,
than
but now I think Gloria
waking up
knows
to that.
it's easier for her to exist if she just stays out of that circle.
Right.
Because
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even though she's tough and she's serious and about business and she doesn't take any mess or any crap from anybody, when it comes to games, she's out of her league when it comes to V and Red.
Right.
Oh, totally.
So because she doesn't really play games, she's very brass tacks.
Yeah.
So she's like, look, they're game players and this is not my thing, which is why she knows that she got played with V.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So, and she already knows how Red operates.
Right.
So now it's like, okay,
But like you were saying,
need to
Megan,
wash
it's
my
the Red.
hands.
She doesn't want Red to come back and take over the kitchen.
Right.
So
So I
Right.
think
she's
she
gonna be
feels
keeping
like
that
she
eye
should
on her.
she should be keeping her eye on V, but I do think she's gonna have her eyes probably set on Red more just
Right.
because she knows Red wants her position.
and has had it before, so she knows what she's capable of.
exactly. So yes, V versus Red and trying to suck Gloria in, but Gloria I think is smart enough to stay out of it,
Right.
and she will.
At least for
I'm
now.
sure. Yeah, for now, we'll see.
Right.
Let's talk about Piper and her receiving this furlough, because this is like what do you call it? An urban legend, like
Loch Ness
or
Monster.
like the Loch Ness
Monster,
Monster.
yeah.
Like nobody ever gets furlough,
Right.
right? And she wants to go see her sick grandmother, which we could all understand is the only person in her. We understand because we've seen the backstory. Of course,
Right.
nobody else has seen the backstory, so they don't give a shit. Sorry, the expression, but that's true. That's how they feel. They don't care about her relationship with her granny. The fact that they're just looking at, wow, everybody's complaining about how they
Right,
apply for
because they've
furlough.
had
and
parents
nobody's got-
that have gotten sick and passed
Right.
away and other things, and they even
spouses,
get it. Right.
everything. One of them said their husband got open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Another one, their first grandchild was born. Another one said that their moms
died,
died.
dad died.
Dad died.
Sometimes parents and,
Yeah,
and
so
they feel like, and again, I could see that though from their perspective, they're like, oh, look at this favoritism.
yes,
She's getting it for her grandmother, and there's favoritism. Nobody else gets
yes.
it.
But
And-
do you guys think that is favoritism? Because I absolutely think it is.
Oh no, I do think absolutely, I do think it, and so rightfully so. It did come across as favoritism because if nobody else has gotten it,
Is it white privilege favoritism?
I think it's a combination
I think-
of everything.
I do too.
because-
But I think with Healy, it's
Well, it's from Healy. He said he got an
right.
opportunity to give it a little extra nudge.
and I think with him, maybe there's that bias there that he doesn't even realize. Besides the fact that
No, he knows it.
no, but I'm saying the bias of the white privilege without really even thinking about having that bias, but thinking besides himself having
But
that.
is-
I think
Is
he's
that
very
what it
cognizant of
is?
his white privilege because
Right.
he even mentioned in the first season, he said, Chapman, the rest of the men here are
Right.
not like you and me.
Right,
Like he
right.
had a
Right,
very
right.
face-to-face conversation
Right,
with her,
right.
and that's exactly what I feel like he meant.
But at the same time, like not realizing the fact that he's doing that under the bias and just thinking he's doing that because of her.
That's essentially what white privilege is. It's not the fact that it's like,
Blatant.
yeah, that's exactly.
yeah.
Like it's not a blatant thing. So
Yeah.
that's why when she calls it out in the lunchroom
Right.
and she says, "I'm sorry
Yeah.
that I have white
White
privilege."
privilege.
All right,
Yeah.
I
And my
give
granny's
it to her.
white
But
too.
Yes,
I would-
I give it to her.
I would
Yeah.
have beg to differ. I believe I think it's blatant. That to me is it's just blatant. It's
Not
like
think her saying that was blatant,
No,
but
her
I
saying that, but-
think Healy doing more work to get her a
Right.
furlough.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
I don't
was
think that was blatant.
I think that was just the innate white privilege,
Yes.
which is essentially what the
Yes.
whole white privilege discussion is about.
Right.
I think it's blatant.
And
Because
because
it's-
he's always
it's-
had this connection with her.
Right,
in that
because
sense.
because it is
But-
conscious. He's consciously acknowledged it to her. So in the manner of which he's acknowledged it, it's they're not like you and me. Well, what does that mean? He's consciously recognizing
right.
where that line is drawn.
Right, but
and
I've
he
seen, like-
associates himself with her
But
as
with
being
her,
better, which is
but was he doing that with any of the other white, with Alex and Nikki? And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, I feel like there was a slight
think
difference
there's
with
a
Piper, but he feels like
class-
she was, that she's
There's
smart.
a level
and
of class that
Right.
he associates
Right.
himself
Classism.
with
classism, right?
Yeah.
with
That might be
Piper,
different
and
than
it
the other white inmates that are in there.
and it doesn't help that before it was she was against him, she was with the whole Alex and fooling around, and now she's kind of like back to kissing ass to him again. So he definitely likes that. So it's a combination of just sucking up to him, and there's just different things that
Well, that's what I say.
play
With like
into
with
it.
Leanne, would punks with those, some of these other white, would they have been able to get the same thing
Right.
with furlough? That's what I'm saying. I feel like there's more than
No.
just the white bias. There's also, like you were saying, the
class.
classism. There's something about that puts her in a different level in his eyes.
But I would have thrown food at her as well. I'm sorry. I would have thrown.
And it was crazy eyes.
Yeah, I love those crazy eyes. Exactly.
And threw the pie to the back of her head. Because at the same time, it's like, okay, your speech, while I get what you're saying, that doesn't help the situation or make it any more. This doesn't make me feel better after my father has died, after my mother has died, after my husband had surgery, and I still didn't get the opportunity you've gotten. I don't care that you. Thank you for acknowledging that it's white privilege.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Take this pie to the back of your head.
Yeah, because I still didn't get that opportunity to go out when I had that same kind of situation, and you are. So of course.
Right.
Well, I would tell everyone to address your concerns to Flocka's advice call. Because it's like, what does Piper have to do with this? She submitted and she got approved. She didn't come in with, a prior agreement with Healy or the rest of the administration how she was going to be treated.
Right.
But it would still piss you off, though.
Doesn't
matter.
I would still be pissed off. You know, my mom died. You know what I'm saying? I would be mad about that.
Yeah.
But I do think it was a punk move for Piper to go back to Healy and be like, I don't want this furlough anymore.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I was like, how stupid can you be?
Well, here's the thing. The thing with Piper and applying for furlough is something that's available. And you got to remember, Piper is not from the street. She doesn't know that furlough is something that never happened.
She read it in the book.
She read it in the book.
Yeah.
Just like when she first got there, she was like, "Oh, prison life 101 kind of thing." And she's
prison life for dummies.
Right. She's still, there's certain things, even though she's had some experiences that we've seen, she's still like naive to other things. Like, so that's something that, I can apply for furlough. I'm gonna go apply for it. My grandmother's sick.
Right.
And then she's learning. You can see she's learning along the way. People making comments about the whole furlough thing, and she knows nothing about how hard it is or how no one ever really gets it. It's just something that you're able to do, but no one is ever granted furlough. Well, so you can see that she's actually absorbing all this while the process is going. She doesn't know. She's like, I applied for furlough. Like, what's the big deal? She's saying, like, if she was savvy already, she would have just got it and she wouldn't have said anything to anybody.
Right.
Well, she's not, and it shows when she's talking to the reporter and she's complaining about being thrown in the shoe and the mistreatment, they're getting. And he's like, what do you expect? This is prison.
Yeah.
It's not, it's
you're
like
not
you
at
don't
the Four
have the
Seasons resort here on vacation.
Same treatment, but to her, that's bad.
Yeah.
And it's not expected, people need to act accordingly. So it's like, oh, well, if it's in the law that you could apply and get furlough, then you're probably going to get it.
Right.
It's the process. So I don't know. I don't blame her, but, I could see why she was scared and wanting to give up her furlough to go see her grandma.
Yeah, because now she's a moving target.
I think even though it's something that you can get, I think it was just dumb common sense. Like, don't mention that you're going to tell everybody. Don't tell anybody that you. That's like winning $100 million and like, taking out an ad.
Right, and like, let's go tweet it out.
Right.
Tell everybody.
I just wanted everyone to know I won $100 million.
Like, duh, no, you don't tell everybody that's stuck in here that you get a pass for like 48 hours or however much time
I think
furlough is. Is it 48 hours? So
well, at least
like,
in this case, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that was just dumb for her to keep mentioning it. I mean, Daya is probably the most passive, cool, gets along with everybody, and she's like, I even want to punch you in the face. Kind of want to punch you in the face right now. When she's like, you got furlough.
I know, because I love the way she said, she's like, what, you have a personal day? Like, at work?
Well, at least Red's on her side. Red doesn't mind her getting out.
Well,
and
because
going and
Red wants
checking
to
she has
up
her
on
own,
her.
because she has her own motivation. I mean, at first she wasn't happy, but then she's like, oh, great, now she can do something for me. So, yeah.
Check on my restaurant store. Yeah.
If she gets a chance, like she's just gonna be able to just go run errands while she's on furlough. Like how does that even work?
Yeah.
Like, that's
I wonder how
interesting.
often they do. That would be interesting to know the statistics.
Yeah, what are the
on
percentages
furloughs.
of that?
If you know that, make sure you put that in the comments.
please
that
let
would be
us know.
interesting.
Or
to
call
see.
us.
And how does it work exactly? Are people with guards? They have ankle bracelets? Do they?
Yeah.
How do they check in?
I
Because
thought they would have an ankle bracelet, but not necessarily a guard.
right? Because that's expensive. But something to like
18 an hour.
They have to have something.
to track them and know where they're
Right.
going. And
Well,
what
they
they're
definitely
doing.
have to know where they're staying.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
And
They need to have a curfew.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do they have a curfew? Or are they able to be out all night? I'm like, I would do a 48-hour bender
They
and
have
be like,
to have
I'm
mileage, distance,
Right.
and how far they could travel.
I think there's definitely stuff they can't do. Obviously,
Right.
like you can't smoke weed. You
But
can't
how
drink. There's stuff you
strict
can't do.
is it that they would be you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the
Right.
thing.
I don't think they can leave wherever they're going.
Is it like the rental car thing where you're like, oh, this is where I'm staying, but you just put down whatever address, or is it something that they're like checking in on you and they're making sure? And
I'm
that's
sure
what
you
I'm
have to
know.
call in to check in,
Yeah.
like with people.
Yeah. and say where
every
you're at, or they
X
check in
amount
on
of
We
you.
don't
hours.
know nothing.
That's
We
what I
over here
wanna
ma-
know.
we're
That's
over
what I
here
wanna ask
making up
people I
theories.
know.
Somebody's like, I've had furlough before. That's
Yeah.
not what happens.
Exactly, or
Please let
know
us
people
know.
that do.
Right.
We're making up our own
I
rules.
know,
right?
How it should be. Well,
Right.
hello, according to Flocka, she should go see her grandma for like 5 minutes.
And then go look at the
Open
clubs.
up and
The
turn
ass
up.
clap.
She said she had no ass to clap.
Yeah.
Is that she said she has no ass to
Yeah.
clap or something like that? Like, dang, for real. Poor Piper, no ass to clap.
Right.
Okay.
So
well, we
funny.
should ask Alex.
Oh, I'm sure Alex thinks she has a lot of ass to clap.
Right.
Yeah.
So Caputo is like going crazy and he's like losing his mind. It's like, I don't know why he lets Figueroa push his button so easily. I know she's his boss, but she like totally gets under his skin, and to the point where he doesn't like he starts losing it, and we see him like unraveling, kind of sorta.
Yeah.
And he goes in the greenhouse and he starts emptying out all the pots. It finally hits him. It's like his sane brain competing with, trying to be nice and do all these things for the girls because he wants them to have a better
Right.
existence, a
Right,
better quality
right.
of life, or the best quality of life, and still, run a sharp, strict prison at the same time. And sometimes it looks like he loses. Plus, he's lonely.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's really lonely,
Right.
and he's in a prison full of women.
Right.
And I just love how he keeps going around asking people, "What is this? Do you have eyeliner? Do you have
Right.
makeup?"
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's just losing it when he goes outside, and of course Nikki's smoking, and he's like, "That
With
smoke I
loose
smell."
check.
Right.
Yeah.
And now that's when you see Loose Check, who's really like cool, laid back.
Yeah.
He's with her and she's
Yeah,
smoking.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's like, dude, this is harmless.
Right.
Like, what is it for me to like crack down on her?
And when I need
while
her to do
she's
electrical stuff,
Right,
in
when
my
I need her to do
department,
it's
you know
like
what? Just take your
all this
smoke.
stuff is like what is the? It also goes to show like what kind of work do they have them doing? The kind of work do they have them doing? Is it really just work just to keep them doing stuff? Is it really productive, or is it
Yes,
just to
it's
keep them
battery
busy?
counting.
Yeah.
Which was really funny when he came out. She was like, "Yeah, make sure there's 12 batteries in that box." And she's like, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3. What comes after 3? I
Three.
forgot.
All right.
So funny.
How obvious could you guys be?
Nikki is hilarious.
But I like how
She
they
is.
have they're talking and you can see like they're work friends. It's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah.
the conversation that they're having is the type of conversation you have with your coworker.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Talking
that you're
about
cool with.
Fisher.
Yeah, talking about
Yeah.
Fisher and how she hit on her and all this
Yeah.
stuff.
And he's totally into it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, of
You would
course.
think like he'd be like, "Hey, my girlfriend." He's like, "Oh, really? What happened?"
No, I
He's
think
like,
it-
"Oh, did she
Well,
say
Well,
like
he-
it?"
he's not taking it seriously,
No.
obviously. So it's just
No, I think he was into it. He
No,
did
he
take it
liked it.
seriously.
No,
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 he
he's
liked
not
it.
taking the relationship seriously.
with Fisher.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm not
think he-
sure. I mean, I know what you're saying. Like he wasn't.
I think
but
he
I
is
think
for
it's
his little
not in love with her,
juvenile,
but in a
mature
typical,
immature
yeah,
mind.
like a guy, like oh yeah,
In
hot.
his immature life, that's as serious as he can get.
Yeah, right.
We'll say that.
And he's thinking hot, like ooh, the woman hitting on her. You know, he feels
Right.
hot.
Right. So Caputo,
Typical guy.
he dumps out all the pots in the greenhouse. Red helps him.
Yeah, Fred's like, all right.
Yeah, you want to? Come on, let's
Right.
just start emptying pots.
Everything,
Blah blah
yeah.
blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. And I think this is the point where you're just like, Caputo's losing it.
But she was
knows.
brilliant in
She was.
manipulating
Moving
him.
all that,
Yeah, but I mean, she's been in prison for some time now, and
She
just
knows how it
just
works.
running contraband through the kitchen. She knows when if I don't
It's
do
on.
this now, because he's talking about I'm going to be there every morning. I'm going to blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah. He's like, oh, she's like, damn, I got to move this stuff because whatever, right? So
Right.
obviously she needs to move.
do the heat with
No,
all
no,
the
no, not in
contraband.
that way. When she was like, "Well, you want to buy, new pots and smaller ones
Right,
that fit?" He's like,
right.
"Oh no, we're good."
Yeah.
Anything that has to do
Because
with
they had no
money.
budget.
Yeah,
They didn't
exactly.
budget. So yeah, that was interesting. And then it's so funny how everybody's like wise to the fact that Caputo has the hots for Fisher, except for Fisher.
I know.
Fisher is like
So
So
clueless.
naive.
she's so clueless.
Yeah.
And then when they're all in the workroom, or it was like the break room or something,
break
room.
Yeah.
and they're all talking about they got the shot quota and all this stuff that's going on, and then Fig comes and she bears down on everybody, and that's like trickle down.
right.
Caputo's like being an ass with the staff, and then we learned that they only make $18 an hour,
Yeah.
right? Like you're in a prison all day for $18 an hour, and it's like wow, that's not a lot of money.
I'm sure there's a required degree.
No, but not.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Healthcare
saying.
benefits.
They get healthcare
Right.
benefits.
I was gonna say you have benefits and everything, and maybe up there in upstate New York, the cost of living
Right.
is much. So I mean, it's not terrible. You're probably ended up making an average, statistically an average
Well, you
salary,
know,
40-something thousand a year.
Fisher was bagging groceries at the store, so compared
Right.
to that,
Right, that's what I'm
this
saying.
is
Like
pretty
that's a
up-
decent money for that area.
That's a promotion.
Yeah,
And
it's
the- the-
statistic average income.
the people that they have working there, you know, except for Bennett, everyone else is just, I'm sure they don't have any prior work experience, you know, in the corporate field or, you know, education. So
But you see, all of them are in the, you know, sort of like you said, it would be like a blue collar
Right,
thing
right,
where you
right.
could go in without necessarily having to go to college or anything. And so for that, it's a good job, especially in that small town.
Right, right,
Exactly.
right.
Good job with benefits, and for
Yeah.
the most part, you think as long as you keep your head down, you've got a job.
Right, which Fisher does not do, which I was surprised, but I was actually happy
Well,
that she
here's-
stood up to Caputo.
I was happy she
It was
stood up
not-
for
well, here's the
everybody.
thing. They kind of goaded her into it. Like, you saw them, like,
Right, they were
say
like,
something.
say
Right.
something.
And then Caputo was like, you
Well-
have something you want to say? Now, I want to ask the human resources expert here. Could he be sued or for wrongful termination or anything like that? Because he
Why?
asked her, like, he asked her, like, you have something you want to say or whatever. And then she starts expressing herself and about what's going on at work, just as a normal employee would do. And she was asked by her supervisor, what, you know, you want to express yourself? You have something you want to say? And then she's expressing herself in, I think, a very a simply professional way. She wasn't
Right.
like disrespectful to him or insubordinate or anything like that. And he just freaking fires her.
There could be an issue there, yeah. I would
No,
think.
it definitely is an issue. But just like, you know, the prison system, you know, the corporate life is just
Yeah.
like being in prison. If you're not working for yourself, working for an employer, it's basically
Right,
being in prison.
right to fire.
Just because the law is written just
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean it's followed. And
Right.
it's really
Right.
hard to fight in court when you do go to court
Yeah,
to
and it's
prove.
hard to prove.
Especially,
And-
I would assume they have some sort of a union system, something going on where it makes it that much more difficult to win lawsuits.
Right.
Right.
And then it's almost worse for her if she was to do that, because then
That's why you have, you know, the whole thing about county jobs. People stay forever in
Right.
county jobs. It's really difficult to fire anyone. Go to the DMV and complain about an employee. Nothing will be done about it.
yeah, right.
Right.
Well, you know, they have all these points of having to be, you know, until they're written up, and
Right.
it's a whole
Right.
process. But yeah, I do think, and especially for her being somewhat clueless on what's going on, and the fact that he is obviously firing her for the wrong reasons anyways because of his own
Right.
personal things.
Yes.
But she's
I
clueless
just-
and doesn't even know, and doesn't even, and
I just hope she's smart enough to, you know, with the information that she has,
Yeah.
come back to hold them accountable
Yeah.
for maybe not wrongful termination, but just the system and how
Yeah.
they're running it.
Right.
Because now she
Right.
has, you know, information that she hasn't shared with anyone yet.
Right, about Daya, yeah. I think she's going to use that
She
against
will,
them
I
some
do
way,
think so.
somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Especially because she's fired. But I really like
Yeah.
the interaction she has with Nikki in
Yes.
the chapel.
That was
She's like,
great.
"Smoke, I don't care." She was like, "Were you trying to hit on
Yeah.
me?"
Right.
She's like, "I
It's
thought
like
about it."
you.
So
you're
maybe she's
right.
not that clueless.
And that's what I was saying. I was
Right,
actually
right.
surprised because I knew she wasn't going to go there, but I was surprised that she actually thought about it, because I know
Right,
we talked
right.
about it before, and I thought, oh, she wouldn't even think about it. So the fact that she thought about it was surprising to me.
Okay.
Not in a
Well, I guess
thousand
Nikki
years.
Yeah, 'cause
was
I knew
a
she
little bit
wouldn't.
more blunt about, you know, her feelings
Yeah.
than Caputo. Caputo
Yeah.
just indirectly invited her, you know, like,
Right.
oh, come check in. But Nikki was like, oh, you know, I know where all the cameras are. You know, you
Yeah.
could come and meet me up over there.
Shit.
So
Fisher was
Well,
worth
Well,
10
like
points.
you said, Nikki has nothing to lose. So
Fisher was
Yeah,
worth
why
10
not?
points in that competition.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the buck, you know, with hunting. It's like, oh, a 4-pointer, you're bagging a 10-pointer, and you know, it's like so crazy
Yeah, I
the
don't
way they had
know
that whole
none of
system.
that.
And well, you know, the antlers and the hunting.
Oh, is
I don't
it?
hunt,
I've never
but I just know
hunted.
I don't either. But there's a whole thing where they call it like four. You know, they have different points for different
Okay. I learned
bucks
something new
and-
today.
yeah.
hunting. I don't do that either, but I'm just saying that's what it reminded me of, and it was very much like that because you're hunting down your prey, these different women, and how much they're worth and everything. I thought the whole thing was kind of funny.
Right.
Well, Nikki is like, get out of here.
Yeah,
Because,
you,
Nikki the counselor.
yeah, again,
Gives her
Right.
some amazing,
Yeah.
once again, Nikki's advice.
Right.
She said
is
go to
always on
trade
point.
school.
yeah,
something
get,
like
get a
that.
new skill.
Yeah,
you could do
get a
so
new
many
skill.
things.
You could do so much.
Right.
Like
Wax
me.
armpits and lips. I was like, oh.
Right.
Wax
I was like,
lips.
no, thank you. That's like, that was like a step down. I'm going to sit there and be a guard with the power and then go and sit there and be waxing people.
So, okay, so Fisher's gone, and then Loose Check comes in, and he's like, oh, babe, oh, I heard what, oh, babe, oh. Like, smack him, somebody smack him. Loose Check is funny.
No.
Dang, my God. Like, does he really care or not? He's just pretending. He just wants to hit it, I think.
I think he's just immature.
No, he just wants to hit
He
it.
said he did already.
No,
No,
he
he
didn't.
said
He said he hit it,
that-
and then Nikki was like, "No, you didn't."
No,
He
you
said,
didn't.
"Okay, I felt her boobs."
Yeah.
She said, "No, you didn't."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, I actually did.
Yeah.
I actually." So he actually fessed up and was like,
Yeah.
"No, he didn't actually
Okay,
have sex
so
with
he
her."
but he did feel her boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I lie to or no?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
No,
he did.
he said he did.
He said he
Okay.
did feel the. He said he actually felt the, felt
Okay.
the boobs. Yeah, yeah. So I think he just wants to get some.
Yeah.
And it's convenient.
Right.
And
Right.
she's like, "Oh, I can actually talk to him."
Yeah.
And of course, Caputo's like annoyed
Of course.
because he's like, "I can talk to him, and we actually work together." And blah, blah,
Well,
blah,
now
blah.
they don't.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Okay, so V tries to make amends with Gloria with fresh
Yeah,
fresh
with a
cig.
fresh cig
fresh
with peppermint in
cig.
there, so it's menthol.
menthol. You can put put a little
Peppermint in it.
peppermint in it,
Yeah.
make it menthol.
Yeah.
And she says like, "I don't have nothing to do with you crazy bitches." Okay, so she actually keeps the cigarette and stuffs it in her top.
Right.
So was that a sign of?
she's playing both sides.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
She would be stupid not to.
Right.
At this point, because as of right now, she doesn't know what's cooking. She knows something's brewing, but until she knows how much danger she's in,
Right.
it's kind of like, well, why not?
And why not?
Why
She
not?
left it there. Gonna take it.
There's no point in throwing away a perfectly good cig.
Right.
Jailhouse cig.
Right. Fresh made peppermint.
Right.
Fresh made. This tobacco is probably, I'm sure it's fresh too, since
Right.
it's just straight tobacco
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
hands.
It's sealed up and.
We definitely have to discuss and just actually mention it. We don't have to go into this big conversation about it, but obviously So-So is
Yeah.
going through whatever she's going through, and she stinks because she's refusing to take a
Yeah,
shower.
I know.
So she's funky.
Yeah.
She's walking
But,
around.
and now you
She
know
is
it's bad
hilarious.
with the
It
trailer
is.
trash chicks. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, if they're telling
they
you.
sell deodorant.
Yeah.
at
Hey,
the
commissary. You have this
Yeah.
brand new fresh stuff
Yeah,
for the
the new
commissary.
yeah.
Trying to sell her on it,
Yeah,
like
the new deodorant, now new flavor.
and she's like,
Tucky's
"Hey,
funny,
person, it's
she's
actually
like-
bad for you. It's not healthy.
Yeah, it's
You're not
toxic.
supposed to- you're supposed to let your body breathe." It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
Right.
And she's like, and the other one is like, "Breathe, yeah. Wish you could breathe down here a little better." And then Tucky just goes off and is like,
Yeah.
You smell like turtle tank."
Yeah.
She's like, "You
Yeah.
smell like an effing turtle tank."
It stinks.
She said, "Take an effing shower." And then Wanda makes her take a shower later.
Yeah.
And even Fig
Well,
was like, "Make
Fig.
this one take a shower."
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Right.
she's really like, I guess that's like the breaking point of where your comfort zone is. Like you're used to taking a shower probably at home where that's where you're comfortable, and she just hasn't broken and crossed over until I'm really in prison.
Right.
Right.
She hasn't crossed over.
But I love how she, like, what is it, her
Throws a
passive?
tantrum.
Passive resistance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Passively
Yeah.
resistant. And then what does Wanda say? Well, I'm aggressively
Aggressive.
Yeah.
Aggressive. I'm gonna practice aggressive aggression.
Yeah.
And they pick her up and take her to the shower and make her
She's
take
so
a shower.
tiny. I was like, all right.
No.
And then
Poor
Black
So-So.
Cindy's like, "You better hurry
Crazy.
up because the shitstorm's about to come up out of there."
Yeah.
Because the pipes like
Yeah.
it's just
30
like
seconds.
it's like
Yeah.
horrible. It's like these horrible conditions.
Yeah.
All the black girls are sitting there with soap all soaped up because they soap up before they go,
Right.
and they
Right.
rinse off before the crap comes up from the pipes. Anyway, so did anybody have an inkling that Piper's grandmother was gonna die
Yes.
before
Yes.
she got a chance to? You didn't?
I didn't know how they were gonna play it. I didn't know if she was gonna get her furlough first and then her grandma died and she got some new revelation from her grandmother, or if her grandmother was gonna die right before she got out. I didn't know.
I thought it was
don't
because then I thought it would have made it too neat and nice for her to get out and have the. Because I figured it just would, unless they were going to go the opposite and then she was going to find out about, Larry and Polly. But I still thought the grandmother was going to pass away first, and it just make it so she doesn't get the opportunity to do the
I think
furlough.
Jimmy's release was a sign that her grandma was gonna die.
Well, for me, it wasn't Jimmy's release. It was the fact that her and Jimmy had created this bond, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, they're giving her the chance to
Right,
make
to-
amends for the grandmother because the
Right.
grandmother's gonna die before
Right,
that time."
I that's why I figured it was
Yeah.
like it was gonna be something like that. And I also I do love the fact when she called her mom the first time and the answering machine, and her mom's so uptight, like a very brief message, like it was like it added to her whole waspy
Right.
with her little voicemail message, which I thought was hilarious. So I knew something was up when she wasn't
Yeah.
able to get a hold of her, and she kept trying. So I was like, oh yeah, something's
Yeah,
up. The grandmother's dying
she's gonna
or
get
had
that
died.
news.
Yeah,
She's gonna get that news,
And
but
she's
still
there
gonna go on
and-
that furlough.
But at least now they can have like the funeral during her furlough. At least that's something.
Right.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but that's what I was wondering. I'm like, is she still going to get furlough now, or are they going to take it away?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
No, I think so. But if now
Because
I don't know,
Because once they
it's
get it, they
approved.
don't take it away. Just like he
Right,
said, you
right.
don't not take. He was
Yeah,
like,
I just
you
wasn't
know,
sure if the conditions had changed and like if she died or what if she, so I didn't know if now that was going to be taken away from her or not
I
because
don't
the
think
grandmother
so.
had already
I
died.
think, the reason why I don't think it's going to be taken away is because we need her to get out so she can have that face-to-face confrontation with Polly and Larry. Like, I need her to be,
Need to have
because
them
how
know.
else would she find out? You know what I mean? And what could she do if she's
Right,
behind bars
right.
and she finds out? She can
well,
do
something
nothing.
has to happen on furlough.
Yes. Yes.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If they're doing the
Spoil
furlough, no, but if they do furlough, then there obviously has to have something that's going to happen.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and the major climax before we wrap up this
OMG.
episode is so because now we have a staff shortage because Fisher's
Yeah.
been fired
Yeah.
and Caputo goes to talk to Figueroa and she had to make some executive decisions and choices after she feels comfortable with the fact that they're not going to be sued for sexual harassment. She hires Mendez back.
Yeah,
Porn stash is
rehires
back.
him back.
Oh,
Yeah.
And we see him in his douchey Camaro, like coming around the corner.
Oh my god, the
square-
whole end of that
Right.
episode, I was like, oh my god, the music and everything. I'm like, oh.
It's like a bootleg Knight Rider, Michael Knight. Like,
Oh.
it's like a bootleg David Hasselhoff.
But I don't understand. I don't feel like he could come back. Like, I don't understand why he was because
He was on suspension.
He was
He was
suspended.
suspended.
Exactly. He wasn't
suspended.
actually fired.
He wasn't terminated.
No.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
why they brought him back.
But now this is going to trigger, hopefully, with
Right.
Fisher, since she knows what's going on, Daya's pregnant, and Porn Stash
Right.
is coming back,
Right. So
taking
it's
her
going to take,
job,
and it's also going to take
it's
that
gonna
whole plan that the ladies
take
had.
her off.
Right.
I think there's enough going on with Porn Stash that it just eliminates Fisher out of the picture because he is troublesome enough within himself.
Right.
That
Right.
you don't really have to include her.
But
No, but I think
No,
her,
I
but I
feel
do
like-
think the plan is going to be ruined that the ladies had with trying to put him as the one that, knocked her up.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I think now because he's back in the picture, it's going
Right.
to ruin their plan and being able to do that.
This will be interesting to see how this
We do
unfolds.
and we do have some news and gossip.
We have news and
before we get out
gossip.
here.
News and gossip really quickly. Megan Thomas.
Okay,
Orange is the New
so
Black.
we were just talking about. We were just talking about Brooke Soso, who was played by the actress Kimiko Glenn, and so she just did a recent interview, and she was talking about how this episode where they asked her a few different things about like the sex scene she did, and she's like, it wasn't that weird because there was mostly women on the set that day. The director was like, in a different room. Only a few camera guys. Like, she's like, it wasn't that weird. But then the funny thing that she said was that she, in real life, after doing this, she doesn't wear deodorant anymore. She actually only wears lavender oil. And I was like, how funny is that?
That is
she
funny.
learned that
Okay,
from her
Kimiko
character?
Glenn,
Yeah.
you can go to Whole Foods and you can get some regular deodorant
Right.
that
That's-
is chemical free.
Right, no aluminum and
No
all the
aluminum
other
and that
things.
stuff. It does exist. You don't have to stick to the lavender
No.
oil. And actually, they do have lavender flavored chemical free
But
deodorant.
she was talking about that. She said that, she tried the chemical free one, like the natural deodorant,
Yeah.
but she was like, it turns out if you just put lavender oil under your armpits, that actually is way healthier and it actually does smell good. And she said people have been telling her she smells really good.
Well, we'll actually
We
be able
need
to
to try
vouch for
it.
that when if she comes in,
try
right?
that.
And she comes and talks to us.
she has to-
We
yeah.
can smell her for ourselves.
Right, we have to prove it.
Yes.
Come in
Okay.
and be a guest.
Right. So, where can we find you guys till next time?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at RealMcKay.
And as always, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream.
And you can tweet me at SMAN80, SMAN80, and I'll be back for True Blood final season here on AfterBuzz, as well as Defiance Season 2.
Nice. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Club Thaddeus and GQJedi.com. You can also find me here on Monday for Power, starring Amari Hardwick. Till next time, AfterBuzzers. Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.